Good morning everybody, this is Milad, and in this video I want to talk about something interesting and actually about the differences between some categories in the world of data science and machine learning. Basically, I want to divide the categories into these 4 or 5 categories. Maybe there are more than this, but these are the general and the most important ones. So the very first one is the data engineering, or being a data engineer. Actually, the second category is machine learning engineering, or being a machine learning engineer. Third category is basically data science, or being a data scientist. And the last one is data analysis, or being a data analyst. Basically, these are 4 most important categories we have in this world. Maybe there are more, and of course there are more. It depends on the company and where you work, but these are the general ones, I think, the most important ones. So I want to a little bit make it clear what each category means and how you can actually choose the path you want based on the definition, because from company to company the meaning can be a little bit different. But I want to try my best to explain to you which one is better for what you want to do. So first, let's start with data engineering, or being a data engineer. Basically, well, data engineer is responsible for creating the infrastructure for gathering data. That's the short definition we have about this. And this means basically in big companies, we have a lot of data in all sorts of places. We have multiple databases, SQL, NoSQL. We have a lot of documents, including all sorts of information. It can be Word, it can be slides, it can be all sorts of formats. So, but there are files, actually, there are written text files that you need to basically gather together and read data from that. And to gather all of this data, and there are a lot of data in external basically resources, and you need to use APIs to grab those data. We have in different places different data, so the responsibility of a data engineer is to create a pipeline to gather all of this data and basically store it in one place. But it's not just that. It's not only about storing, but also formatting the data in a way, changing the structure of the data or the tables of the data in a way that it be much suitable for next level, especially for data scientists to work with the data. The next thing we have is being a machine learning engineer. So the responsibility of a machine learning engineer is that basically, based on the pipeline that the data engineer has created, they basically create some models for machine learning. They have the data they want, but now they need to work on some models, machine learning models, to actually train the model based on the data, and create some models for classification, clustering, for computer vision processing, and these sort of things, for doing image recognition. So they have all the data they want. They have the pipeline. The pipeline is already there, created by the data engineers, but a machine learning engineer needs to work on the modeling. Basically, that's the general job, but it can be bigger and more than this. But the gist of it is this: that the core idea of a machine learning engineer is to basically work on the modeling, or at least start digging and discovering existing models to, achieve the result they want. For instance, we have a lot of ready-to-use models out there, but that's simply you can start using that for your data, and you can do a simple training on that existing models, and you can basically use it really fast. But the point is that the whole job of a machine learning engineer is to be familiar with the concepts of machine learning, clustering, classification, regression, deep learning, neural networks, and these sort of things, and be able to basically create models. And that's all. I just want to give you the big picture. I'm not going to go into the details, maybe later. So that's all about machine learning engineer. So for the third part, we have data science, or being a data scientist basically. So we have first data engineering, and then machine learning engineering, and now we have data science, which is basically on top of those two. And the responsibility of a data scientist is that they need to basically, based on the pipeline they have already, all the data is already there, the data is in the warehouses ready to use, and also we have some models trained based on that data. So the responsibility of data science is data scientist is basically to be able to extract meaningful information based on the data and the tools they have. That's the general thing, that's a core idea. So for instance, a company has a lot of data on some customers, on the transactions, all the payments, about all the purchases. They have a massive data, and they want to do some kind of marketing. They want to understand what is the best category for selling this particular item. Should they sell this item to old people or young people? Should sell it to women or men, to children, or should they sell it in summer or in the winter? These kind of questions. How much discount they need to give to the customers? We have the data, we have the pipeline, we have the models. They have trained the models to work to model the whole data for the customers, but the problem is that it's not yet ready to answer to these questions. The responsibility of a data scientist is answering to all of these questions, and they based on the data and models and everything they had, data scientist is responsible to do that, and that's a whole job. Basically, data scientist needs to do. So now we have the last category. Basically, it's being a data analyst. To understand the meaning of data analyst, being a data analyst, first you need to know some information. Well, to be a data engineer, you need to know a little bit programming. You need to know how to work with different tools and systems. You need to know how to work with databases, with servers, with CI/CD tools, with pipelines, all concepts in data engineering and data management and these sort of things. You need to be a good programmer and also a good server, basically server administrator. Now for being a machine learning engineer, basically, you need to be a good programmer. You need to be familiar with machine learning concepts. And that's pretty much all you need to know. You don't have to know how to work with pipelines that much, or databases, because we assume that data is already there, really available. Now, to be a data scientist, basically, you need to be, for being a machine learning engineer, you also need to know math to a good level. You need to be familiar with the concepts in that world. Also, to be a data scientist, you need to know programming. You need to know how to work with some data science softwares, and also you need to be familiar with statistics, with mathematical, formulas or equations, or important things in that world. And now, when we want to talk about data analyst, basically, things are a little bit different. And the responsibility of data analyst is basically they need to know a little bit about mathematical things, a little bit about, not that much about programming. It's not, maybe a little, but the whole point is that how the responsibility of data analyst is connecting the data and basically the summary and the information that that a data scientist provided, connect those data and those results and summaries to the marketing section, basically. So this responsibility is connecting those data and summary and information and result coming from the data science part to the marketing section, to the basically they need to know about economy, they need to know about marketing and about sales. So because they are in a higher level of management, they're close to the management board, so they want to guide the management to help them to, based on the data, they have to decide about some important things. So the whole point of being a data analyst is that it's not about getting the data or working with data. It's mostly about how you basically translate the data, transfer the data, to help management to make the right decisions. And this is pretty much about being a data analyst, at least in some companies. The meaning of all of these categories can be different from companies to companies, but it's not really important. They can have their own definition of each category, but this is pretty much what we see every day.